Right, welcome to another spelling lesson with Mrs. Smith, whether you want to or not. These are the instruments you will need. You will need scissors, glue, and a pencil. You will need these two papers from your lesson scans, and you will also need this book from which is your language arts and math book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause my video for a second so that I can open up my book to my next available page. You should pause the video so that you can go gather the materials and open up your journal as well. Okay, so you can see that our papers are horizontal, and so I turned my journal so that my metal rings or my metal coil was on the top. Now, the first thing I need to do is I need to carefully cut off the word list from the bottom of this page. So if you're confused on what that means, just hold on one second and I'll show you. So you can see here that I detached the word list. Okay, so then the next thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to cut out each of these words carefully, and I'd like you to trim this page so that we can glue it into the book. Okay, now it does say look on the back because generally this assignment has both sides, but because we made it into an assignment for our virtual learning, there's nothing on the back. This page actually is the back, so we'll get to them. We'll get to this one after we're done with this one. Okay, so pause me now so that you can do that, and I'll pause myself so that when you come back you'll see mine is ready. Okay, so here you can see that I glued down my paper. It's glued to my book, and I have each of my words cards cut out. So the next thing I need to do is I need to go to the next page so that I can glue the second part. And what I think I'll do is I'll create a force field so that you know where to cut as well. So creating that force field now. Sometimes it helps to create a force field as well because when I'm using my scissors, if I accidentally cut too far, I can't uncut. So if I make a line that I don't want, I can always erase it, especially if I use a crayon. So, all right, so now I'm gonna take a second, I'm gonna pause my video so I can cut out on the force field. You should do the same. Okay, so here's my second page all glued down. See, my first page is ready as well. Each one of these words matches one of these pictures. So this is the strategy. You choose a word. So let's say I'm going to choose this one. And I know that my sound for this week is ah. Say that for me. Look at my little face right there. Ah, ah. That's short O, like ma, ah. So here we have the short O in p, ah, t, p, ah, t. Now what happens, Mrs. Smith, if I'm struggling with sounding things out and kind of putting my sounds together? Like I have my sounds, but I'm not putting them together to make a one word. So here's a strategy. Okay, you're going to put out your arm just like this. Okay, and you're going to say the three sounds all together, and you're going to help to smooth them out. P, ah, t, p, ah, t, pot. So it helps to remind you to smooth those out so it's not three separate sounds. It actually becomes one combined word. So this is a pot. So I need to find a picture of a pot. This is the picture of a pot. And so I take my picture and my word and I match them up. Okay. Then you also have to remember that on the back we have three of them. So I look here and I say, that looks like a lock. So maybe I would look at my different words and I'd say, where's the word lock? Well, I know lock begins with l, which is L. So here's the l word, ah, and then k. So there we have that CK. It is important that you'll notice that when Mrs. Smith wants CK, I say k instead of just k, because I want you to understand that it's a combined sound and that we're looking for those two letters to put together to make that sound. So this is in fact a lock, and so I glue that on there. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to pause me, and you're not going to turn me on until you have all of them glued down, at least most of them. Let's say I get to a picture I don't understand. Skip it, go to the next one. Let's say I come to a word I can't read. Skip it, go to the next one. Process of elimination, guys. I do not want you to look at my answers that'll come after this pause until you try it on your own, just like we would in class. All right. So you're going to pause me now so that you can find all the correct answers on your own and then check back with me in a moment. I'm going to pause too so that I can glue mine down. Okay. I hope you did all your work before you checked it with mine. All right. So you probably noticed that there were 2 that we did not use, and the rest of them fit. If you want, you can create a picture for each one of these, or I'll tell you, I think steam coming from that pot is an example of hot. Now, each time we do this assignment, I have a couple kids who look at this animal and they say, what in the world is that? This is an ox. And an ox is a large cow-like animal, much stronger, and generally used to pull things, similar to a horse. So that's an ox. And on the back, here are the answers for this one. You can see this is a pin that will pop. Okay? All right, so check back with me in just a moment so that the second part of the video will begin. All right, spelling lesson part 2. So this one's a little different. Instead of matching words with their picture, you're going to be putting words into their families. So generally a word family is the rhyming sound that is consistent with the words. So for instance, let me just read to you this first line. Lock, block, rock, sock. Do you hear that rhyming "ock" for each one? So what we will do is first you need scissors, glue, pencil. You need this paper and the apple paper. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Oh, I'm sorry. You also still need your journal. And what I'd like you to do is to pause the video and start cutting out these apples. If you want to cut out each apple, you can, or you can just cut on the lines, okay? And I'm going to pause my video so I can cut out my pages as well. See you in a moment. Okay, so all of my apples are now ready. I hope yours are as well. So I want to be able to fit this inside my journal, so I'm going to have to make another force field. So I'm going to carefully force field. We're going to go all the way around the paper. Going to go across the bottom. Going to go up the right side. Across the top. And then I already did the left side. Okay, so now I'm going to pause so that I can cut along my force field and then glue my page into my journal. You should do the same. I would suggest that you turn your journal so that the metal is at the top. All right, so I'm going to pause, and so should you. Okay, so now my paper is glued in my book, and I have my apples ready, and I have my pencil. Sorry, I lost it. I wasn't ready. Now I am. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle up my apple cards. You might want to play like 13 card pickup, however you want to shuffle them. They're a little bit tricky and sticky. Okay. Now, you could leave them in a little pile like this, like when we play Candyland, or you can set them all out like when you play Memory. What we want to do is we want to turn over each card, and then we want to decide which family it belongs to. So the family, again, is the rhyming sound. The rhyme is at the end of the word. It is not just one letter, it's actually both of the ending letters. So for mop, the rhyme or the family sound is op. So I look over here and I see ox, ock, op. And so I'm going to write that word. Then I'm going to keep on going until I have each of these words placed into a column. Down here, they want you to write each of these high frequency words 3 times. So you're going to write help 3 times, and you're going to write use 3 times. They also want you to write a sentence using the word help and use a sentence writing the word use. Here's what I do not want to see, first grade. In kindergarten, you could have written, I can help. I don't teach kindergarten. I teach first grade. So when we're in first grade, you have to say either who, what, why, when, or where. Remember those 3-part sentences? So I is the subject, help is the action or the verb, but I need to know what you're helping with, or where, or when, or why. So I want to see those things, and I'll give you an example on my paper as well. If you really get stumped, you can use part of my example, but I want you to try to use part of your own wording as well. How can you change it to make it your own? Okay? All right. So what I'd like you to do is to go through the apples, place them in their correct family, then down here, write each of these high frequency words 3 times, and then please write a complete sentence with capitals at the beginning and with any name, and ending punctuation marks, probably periods. Okay? All right. So I'm going to pause mine so that I can fill in my assignment. That way you can check your answers. You should pause me right now because the answers will show in just a few moments, and I want you to try this on your own before you see my work. Scout's honor. Okay, I hope you are honest, and I do trust you. So you can see here that I have filled in our chart, and you should check your families with mine. Check to make sure that your handwriting is nice and neat when you're practicing your high frequency word. And then here are the sentences that I wrote. First graders can help kinders at St. Dominic School. I chose to put my 2 sentences into like one idea. They can use recess time to invite kinders to play basketball. So you see the word use. All right. So check your work and review back if you need to, and I'll see you soon.